Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, March 9th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the watch list, first just want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering here in a couple of days. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to help build consistency, get better results as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click on. So like I said, if you're liking what you see, certainly get signed up for that free class. A couple of quick clarification points. First off, the market is still open, so yes, the prices will still be changing and candlesticks will still be moving around. So just keep that in mind. I like to do these videos when the market's open for a little bit of time because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then next off, I will be using the 30-minute time frame. So you beginners out there, what that means is that each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So first one, ticker symbol CEI. Did this analysis yesterday and another crazy day. So much volume today. Lots and lots of volumes, but what's interesting is how this level that I drew yesterday has once again come back into play. So this will mean a tad bit more to those of you that watched yesterday's video, but even if you didn't, I put that resistance trend line into play, and yeah, it wasn't very relevant. It became relevant right there when the price fell below it, but it became so much more relevant when the price did bounce, and well, wouldn't you know it, surprise, surprise, right where the price found some resistance, right at that resistance level before getting knocked back down. So point here being is, I think, in my opinion, at least a lot of people are going to be watching that level and wondering the same thing in terms of, can the price get back up to that level and get a break up through it? So while there are no such things as guarantees in the market, is it plausible to think that if the price can get back up to that trend line and then get a break up through it, that break in and of itself could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure? Absolutely a plausible thought process to have. If you like to play more so pullbacks, then the level that stands out from that angle of things, in my opinion, right down there around that dollar mark, which makes sense. You know, it's just that big old round psychological level of a dollar. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, pretty amazing how that trend line came back into play today. So let's see if the price can get the break up through it. Next one, MULN, and did this analysis previously, talked about that resistance level right there. And you can see this morning price opened up right on that level and then had a very nice surge up to that area around, $1.45 before returning back downwards. But late day here, as I talk, you can see this final 30 minutes. Nice little green candle here forming. But the newest breakout point here, so I'm just going to go ahead and adjust this level up, is now seemingly right there around that $1.40 mark, which you go and look at today's action and, temporarily broke above it. That didn't last very long. But then after the price fell back below it, again, generally speaking, you can see right there, got up around the general area, rejected, general area right there, rejected. But then you look back here and you can see it was right at that area. So again, $1.40, that next key breakout point where, plausible to think that if the price can break through there, that could create another nice surge of upwards buying pressure. But I have to reiterate, plausible to think that way. Not guaranteed to happen, but by no means is that some sort of irrational thought process to have. But then for those of you that maybe care about more so the overall point of view, everything is still perfectly fine. I understand if you bought right here, then it maybe doesn't feel that way. But when you take a step back and look at where the bases have been, so the low from today, and then low previously, and then that low down there. In the very near term, and if you envision these as stair steps, you can see that the stair steps are still progressing in the upwards direction. So overall, the trend remains upwards, and now it's all about that $1.40 mark. So let's see if the price can push up through there. Next one, Hymc, another volume monster today. And what I like about this is actually right now as I speak, it's looking like it's doing battle with it. So let's get that in play here. That trend line right there, yeah. So as we speak right now, and this is why I like to do these videos, you can see that the price is currently doing battle with this resistance line right there. So that'll be the big dynamic moving forward based on the question of, okay, is a breakout beginning? Is another return of strength happening? Now think about that. In order for me to be able to even ask that question, something needs to first happen in the first place. And we do officially have that something. We've had the price stop getting beat up. We've had the price recover, and now we've had the price head back upwards. Now, does that mean that this is for sure going to keep on going upwards? Once again, of course not. There are no for sures. But is this significant enough to now start to be able to throw out that question of, hey, is this the start of something bigger again? Are the bulls coming back and going to make another push in the upwards direction? That is certainly a valid question to be throwing out there. And given this is a watch list, well, that's the whole point of a watch list, right? To put unique situations on a watch list so you can, well, watch them. And if you like to play this price range, then this is certainly one to keep a close eye on. So let's see if this is indeed the start of a much bigger break of that trend line. Next one, Ensv, and this one's looking pretty rough here. However, from the big picture point of view, there is still some opportunity here, and the chart does remain bullish. Now, that can sound crazy depending on your perspective, meaning if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there, maybe you bought right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, well then, yeah, from that perspective, the chart looks absolutely terrible. But assuming you do care about the bigger picture point of view, the price could still theoretically come down. I'm not saying it will, but it could, in theory, come down to that $3 mark, which is what I think is a very interesting level, because the price could come down here, find some support, start to turn itself around. And again, emphasis here on big picture. But from the big picture perspective, what would you still have? Well, you'd still have a set of lows there. You'd have lows there, lows there, lows there, lows down here. And again, if you envision these as stair steps, then from the big picture, you would still have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction. Again, I realize none of this really makes it's not really relevant to you if you're a day trader that bought the top right there. But again, I'm making these comments more so from an overall chart perspective. So if you do like to play pullbacks, and that $3 mark to me is a very interesting level. Next one here, AMC. Overall, a good, healthy day, all things considered. What do I mean by that? Well, check out the opening 30 minutes right there. Opening 30 minutes of the day, the price came down and broke through both of those levels of support that I talked about previously. However, that was just 30 minutes. But by the time the day has now made itself, shown the rest of the day, you can see that, yeah, it's not like it kept going straight up, but at least the price is up higher and it's gotten back above those areas of support. So from that angle of things, nothing new to report. Still have this, we'll call it support zone of $15 down to $14.65 that I would definitely consider a very, very important level of support, or I should say zone of support. So continue to watch that. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, the price did show some signs of strength today with the bounce. The question mark now moving forward is, okay, is this the start of a bigger bounce? Now, I'm not going to say a reversal because, it takes more than a couple of days going up to call something a reversal. But yeah, bounces can certainly turn into reversals. But the first thing the price has got to do is, well, keep on bouncing. And my definition of, quote unquote, keep on bouncing is bare minimum. It's got to stay above this support zone here. So let's see if the price can get that job done or not over the next couple of days. Next one here, Gevo, and a very, very impressive move here. And overall, a great looking pattern. And when you have great looking patterns, a bunch of people are watching those patterns. And when bunches of people are watching the same pattern, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very nice upwards movements. So first dynamic here is just simply the top of the pattern, which is where the party stopped today. And that sits right up there at essentially $4.60. And then to go along with this, we have the support portion of the pattern. So let me actually change this to green to represent more so the bullish dynamic of things. And maybe to make this all bit easier to see visually, let's make this all one color. So again, we have our resistance there. We have our support here. We have the big momentum move right here. And if you're more visual, let me put the golf hole down here. So this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like to play bull pennant patterns, if you like to play this price range of stocks down below the $5 mark, then I would definitely say this one belongs on your watch list for Wednesday. Next one here, NINE. Really like this one because it's still within an overall uptrend. As I noted before, there's a bit of perspective that goes into that. If you're a day trader and you bought there or there, and you wanted to buy and sell within 5 minutes, well then yeah, from that perspective, things are looking pretty bad. But from the big picture point of view, you still have an overall uptrend. There is still a trend going upwards, but you just have this pullback right here. But what's interesting about this is, the little pullback here is now forming in itself a nice little wedge pattern right there. So it's really just a question of, is this wedge pattern going to break out to the upside? And if so, is that going to be enough, momentum and volume to potentially send it back up to these highs up around the $8 mark? But that's why, in my mind, the very intriguing level to watch moving forward, going to be right there at $6.15. Again, if $6.15 fails, am I saying that that's automatically launching the price back up to $8? No, of course not. But what I am suggesting is that makes it very valid to think, okay, maybe this little pullback here is over, maybe this consolidation is over, and maybe this thing is getting ready to continue on with the trend. Keywords there being maybe, but that's by no means some sort of random area right now. So from kind of a confirmation of potential trend continuation, 615, a very interesting level. But then again, if you do like to play pullbacks, interesting pullback level to me sits down there around the $4 mark. But overall, the trend continues. Let's see if this indeed can build another leg back to the upside. Next one, CYRN. Absolutely crazy late afternoon here. So you got to think that there's going to be quite a few people still watching it on Wednesday. So let's talk about a couple of key levels. First level here that stands out to me is going to be a potential pullback point right here at this former resistance level. And this is just based around a foundation rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So that does seem pretty far away, and maybe it is far away, but you also have to keep in mind that this thing is apparently very volatile and can move big stretches. So again, not saying that that means that it's going to happen, but I don't think it's too unrealistic to think that the price could come down here to around this 850 mark and come into play here. And whether or not it bounces, you know, nobody knows that, but is that some sort of random area on the chart? Absolutely not. There's a lot of you know, sequence and the logic that goes behind it. As far as areas of resistance, pretty straightforward. Seems as though there's quite a bit of sellers that showed up there throughout the course of the afternoon around the 1250 mark. So keep an eye on that on 1250 in a very kind of broad sense. So I'm not proclaiming this as like a textbook pattern, but in a very broad sense, you have almost a little potential bull flag here that'll form. But again, I use that very loosely. But overall, definitely one that has proven to be able to move very, very quickly. Next one, KALA, again, like CYRN, what we just looked at, more so a late day mover today, as that's when the volume came in, and it's now pulled back and consolidated nicely. So once again, perspective, if you suffered from FOMO, chased the price and bought up there, well then yeah, from that angle of things, the chart looks really, really bad. But taking a step back, there are some now very well-defined levels, which is always helpful from a trading standpoint. So the first level here that I think a lot of people will be watching, right there at that $1.30-ish mark. So right around there, that is an area that suggests that if the price can return back up there and get a break up through there, that break, you know, could be kind of the leading indicator that there's another surge of momentum to come. So keep an eye on that from a breakout standpoint. And then as far as supports are concerned and pullbacks, the level that stands out to me right down there around the 95-cent mark. But again, loosely speaking, we have the resistance here, we have the support here, we have the momentum move right there. So we have ourselves another bull flag pattern. Next one here, Tsla Tesla, and overall a good, healthy day on this one, especially all things considered how things started off. Opening 30 minutes, price dropped down through that support level right there that I talked about and kept on going, and then all of a sudden, an epic bounce to the upside, and it's pulled back here a little bit, but you know, nothing crazy. And right now, all really depends, and I drew it right there, but we have ourselves a little bull flag pattern. Now, the big dynamic here of the bull flag is this bull flag going to be strong enough to overcome the overall trend, which is very clearly down? I mean, you can see that in a couple different ways. There is the downtrending trend line right there. Our moving averages are trending down. In fact, that pink line right there is where the price got rejected from. So yes, it is a bullish pattern, but it's a bullish pattern occurring within an overall downtrend. That doesn't mean that the bullish pattern is going to fail, but it does mean you might want to be a little bit more skeptical with it and not automatically assume that the bullish pattern is going to produce continuation to the upside. But it does certainly create some very interesting dynamics here. So again, from a resistance standpoint, near term relevant area of resistance right there, that pink line, 200 period moving average valid at, we'll call it 845. And then more so the overarching level of resistance is going to be that trend line that I've been tracking for a while now. That seems to be right up here around, let's call it 865, give or take. As far as supports are concerned, still have that level down there at 795, but more so in the near term, another interesting level going to be right down there around the $820 mark. But overall, we'll see how Tesla plays out. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, then certainly get signed up for the free class later this week. It'll be Thursday, March 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so definitely get signed up for that free class. If you enjoy these top 10 videos and would like for me to continue to make videos like this, please help me out with some basic feedback, and you can give me that feedback by hitting that like button and leaving a simple comment. Say hi, give me a thumbs up emoji. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But hitting that like button and leaving a basic comment goes a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy these videos, and as long as I know people are enjoying, I will continue to make them. So do those two things, and I thank you in advance, and definitely get signed up for the free class, and hopefully I'll see you on Thursday.